800-936-5857. That's 800-936-5857. Call now. 800-936-5857.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of the Wrestling Observer with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Let's get it on!
Okay, welcome to the second hour here on Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, with Brian Alvarez, speaker for a week. Our special guest this week, Bill Goldberg. We got a lot of different things to talk to Bill about, what he's been doing, what he's got coming up. And but probably the first thing to talk to Bill about is what we've been talking about for the entire show. And Bill, obviously, you worked for years in WCW with Eddie Guerrero. And how did you learn about this, and what was your thoughts about how everything went down?
Actually, the guy who runs my website, Ross Foreman, informed me of it. I really don't know too many of the particulars, but just another one bites the dust. Unfortunately, man, he's another one of the guys who was so gracious enough to me in the infancy of my career to pull me aside and just help me whenever I needed help. And he was just a terrific guy in and out of the ring, and his family's definitely going to miss him, and as well as guys like me. So,
question I want to ask you is you were in football for most of your life, high school, then college, then professional football in various leagues, and then you came into professional wrestling. And football's a very tough sport physically. Lots of injuries like professional wrestling. Lots of, the same type of emphasis, you got to be big and strong, and in football, you got to be fast as well. Is there any reason why you think that this type of thing that seems to happen too often in wrestling really doesn't happen like that in the ranks of football? I mean, what's the difference? Is it travel? Or there's probably a lot of things.
It's called the grind, and that has everything to do with it. That's the contributing factor right there. I mean, guys in the NFL, if they're lucky, get to travel eight times a year. I would imagine 9 times a year, playoffs, stuff like that. They're not on the road 120, 130 days a year, driving from town to town and having to get workouts in, and it's a very, very stressful life, man. I don't know of any other endeavor that you could correctly compare to.
Okay, hold on just a second, because we'll talk more about this right after this. You listen to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Golf Digest is going to cure your slice now, and that's a guarantee. Introducing the breakthrough video, Cure Your Slice Now, and it's free with your paid subscription to Golf Digest magazine. In this video, top PGA instructor Chuck Cook shows you the 7 key phases of the swing and gives you his proven method for better control and longer, straighter drives. And here's our guarantee. If Golf Digest and Cure Your Slice Now doesn't cure your slice and improve your game, cancel the subscription and keep the video free. Every month in Golf Digest, you get easy-to-follow instruction from the best teachers and players in golf, information on the top equipment, the best places to play, and you also get the removable Pocket Tips booklet. Call now. Use your credit card and get your first risk-free issue, the Pocket Tips booklet, and the video free. You get 11 more issues for only $19.77. If your game doesn't improve, cancel your subscription and keep the video, booklet, and magazine free.
Call 800-828-2639. That's 800-828-2639 for Golf Digest.
If you're self-employed or you run a small business and you need competitive health insurance, pick up the phone and call the Mega Life and Health Insurance Company. 866-503-MEGA. You don't even have to leave your home or office. Call us now and a friendly Mega Health representative will come to you and explain your health insurance options. So again, if you're self-employed, run a small business, or if you're on a COBRA plan and it's about to expire and you need dependable, reliable health insurance, call Mega Health now for a free quote. 866-503-MEGA. 866-503-MEGA. That's 866 866-503-MEGA. These competitive health insurance plans are underwritten by the Mega Life and Health Insurance Company, and coverage may not be available in all states. So call now and see if you qualify. 866-503-MEGA. 866-503-MEGA. That's 866-503-MEGA.
Brian Berger here from Sports Business Radio. I want to tell you about an amazing new technology that San Francisco Giants sports fan and tech whiz Blake Krikorian developed with his brother back in 2002. It allows you to watch your living room TV anywhere in the world right through your computer. Plug it into your TV or your TiVo or your cable box or your satellite dish and then into your home internet connection. Then the Sling Box lets you watch and control your living room TV from your computer anywhere in the world. I was in New York recently on a business trip and needed to control my TiVo. Sling Box allows me to access my home TV directly from my hotel room. Awesome. No more missing big games, breaking news, or my favorite TV shows. The $250 price tag is well worth the convenience. The topper here is that there is no subscription fee. That's right, no subscription fee. This is technology at its best. Slingbox now goes into my Technology Hall of Fame right alongside the BlackBerry and the TiVo. I use my Slingbox every day. Go grab one today. They're available at CompUSA and Best Buy and Sling Media's own online store at slingbox.com.
Okay, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Brian Alvarez, the Figure 4 Weekly, and of course our guest for this hour, Bill Goldberg, who we were talking a little bit about football, the difference of football and wrestling as far as the grind. Bill, another one I wanted to ask, and from an hour standpoint and everything, you've done a couple of movies, of course, Longest Yard, which you did right, which came out right about the last time that we spoke. Oh, I'm losing something here. Anyway, what type of, from an hour standpoint, and I mean, that took a long time to film, but I mean, I guess it wasn't the travel that would be like as a wrestler.
No, it's totally different. The grind on a movie set is getting up and being on set at 6 a.m. and having to sit around all day for a 15-minute shot. Like I said, there's nothing in comparison career-wise to being on the road and wrestling, except for being in the circus. Yeah.
And then the circus, you may not, depending on what your role is, but most roles you're not going to have the level of pain I think that you're going to have as a professional wrestler.
Well, there's no question. Unless you're the sword swallower.
Yeah, really. Now, you've had a lot going on. And in a couple of weeks, you're doing a television show on Spike. You're filming it, and want to tell everybody a little bit about that?
Well, it's called Joes versus the Pros, man. It's 3 average Joes against 5 supposed sports icons each week. I think it's a 10-episode deal. Myself, Dominique Wilkins, Karl Malone, Jerry Rice, Randy Chastain. The list goes on and on. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Mainly for me to get out there and compete alongside of some heroes of mine.
Mm-hmm. Now, when's that filming and when does that air?
It is filming in December. Actually, my spot films in December. When it airs, God only knows. Only the powers to be at the Spike TV can tell you that one.
Okay, and how was the feedback and everything from the Automaniac show?
I think it was pretty good. It was quite a stretch for the History Channel to go out on a limb and shoot for a 18 to 35 audience. I think it was a lot of fun. I think we were able to give the fans something quite different than all the other auto shows out there, which was a little bit of informative information. So you never know, man. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a second season.
As far as professional wrestling, how closely are you following it? And, what are your thoughts as far as, you actually haven't done it now in wow, what is it, like a year and a half now?
It's been a year and a half, man. It's been, it seems like it was just yesterday, but...
oh, that last match you're not going to forget?
Yeah, believe me, I already forgot it.
Oh, you did?
So the reality is that I've probably watched 5 minutes of wrestling since I stepped out of the ring at Madison Square Garden.
Really? Wow.
For me to pass judgment on the state of wrestling would be unfair because I haven't watched it. So.
Well, what about the UFC show last night?
Oh, that was a great deal. UFC, man. I am very close to the cuff with a lot of those guys. Randy Couture and I actually were supposed to do a USO tour about 2 weeks ago. I unfortunately got sick, and I wasn't able to attend, but we're going to go in March back up to Washington, D.C. with Ken Shamrock and a couple other guys. But, UFC is great, man. It's awesome. UFC and Pride over in Japan, and I'm obviously a huge mixed martial arts fan. I own a gym, a Muay Thai gym in Oceanside, California, too. So it's UFC's great, man. Great TV.
What did you think when Tito, Ken Shamrock, and BJ Penn all returned in the same night?
Yeah, the original thought that I had was, man, this is turning more like wrestling every day.
Wasn't that, no, seriously, that thing was, Dana White was he was more,
He was Vince McMahon.
He was Vince McMahon, and he had that big smile on his face. He's bringing all the stars back, and I mean, and it was, I tell you what, it was where Dana turned even more into Vince McMahon because the one thing that with Dana White was is that, if you crossed him or he didn't like you, it was just like, okay, adios, I'm running the show. And these were the guys, BJ Penn who sued them and Tito who they had the big contract problems with.
Ratings, man, ratings.
He figured it out. They needed more stars this season because they have more TV.
That and they needed storyline.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, like we were talking about this earlier, the idea of a Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock together on a television show for all those weeks leading to a fight is probably, the dynamic, and with Dana in the middle, the dynamic is awesome for television.
It's genius.
Yeah.
Absolute genius. Hats off to those guys. That was very smart.
Are you, how close are you to, because you know all of those guys pretty much, right?
Yeah. Tito's a good friend of mine. Like I said, Shamrock was on that USO tour, and I'm actually going to go to the fight to Couture's rematch with Chuck Liddell, I think in February.
Oh, the February 4th show? Yeah. Now, you are also doing something, I just want to bring this up as well, the eBay thing. You're auctioning off some of your things to help basically a family that that was from New Orleans has been displaced to where you live, actually. And tell people a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's the Ario family. I think there's 8 or 9 people in the family. They range from probably 6 years old to 80 years old, and they were directly affected by the hurricane. They were all displaced, and through actually my mechanic who takes care of all my cars, I got in touch with this family, and like I said, like you said, they live here in Oceanside right now, and we're auctioning off various items from time to time on eBay, and 100% of the proceeds are going to this family. So, it's a very small way that we can help, but it's a way that we can help. So,
can you tell? Is there is it through your website or?
Well, you go to BillGoldberg.com, and I think through the latest news, it'll always show the current auction item up. But God, you can type in Bill Goldberg at eBay, and it'll pop up along with probably 2 million other things. So.
Okay. Now, as far as when we're talking about like mixed martial arts and everything like that, on the recent Pride shows, there've been some killer shows. The Bushido show, and then the show where they had the middleweight tournament, and what was it, the Fedor and Mirko Krokop show. What were your thoughts as far as you've been there, you've even worked for them in the past as far as announcing and everything. Tell us a little about the atmosphere of going to Pride, because no one here has ever actually been to a Pride show live.
Pride's totally different. When Joe Rogan said it best, UFC is the mecca of mixed martial arts in the United States. And as far as Japan is concerned and other countries, but who knows how they compare unless you have been there. I have been there, and I got to tell you, man, I co-commentated on an event called Dynamite New Year's Eve in Japan, and there were over 100,000 people there. And it was more like watching an event at the L.A. Coliseum as opposed to the MGM Grand. It was an event, produced at grandioso fashion. It was unbelievable. It's just totally on a different scale. Now, to be on the negative side of Pride and K1, they're going way, way out there as far as matchmaking is concerned, and some of their cards have turned into, they're not even as good as some of the wrestling matches. It's just absolutely brutal, some of the things they're doing. But And I take my hat off to the UFC guys because they never did anything like that. So.
Well, they might do Joe Rogan and Wesley Snipes.
Go figure.
They're it's funny because talking to the people there, you have that debate internally at UFC and every one of these companies that, you have to put on matches that the fans want to see, but then you also do want to produce it as a sport and have, legitimate championships and legitimate contenders, as much as you possibly can, and yet sometimes, now in Japan they've gone a lot further, with like comedians and things like that. I mean, but sometimes, like with wrestling and everything, it's like some people are over that, that belie their athletic ability because of who even knows what. Charisma.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty strange why they put some people on the card, but you'll figure.
Okay, we're going to go ahead to a break right now. By the way, you can call us at 1-800-878-PLAY. We'll be back with more with Bill Goldberg right after this. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Hi, I'm Robert Wagner with an important message for homeowners 62 years or older. If you own a home, you may be able to pay off your current mortgage or access the equity in your home without making any monthly loan payments. That's right, no monthly loan payments. A U.S. government-insured reverse mortgage allows you to convert the equity in your home into cash, giving you the financial independence you deserve. The tax-free proceeds won't affect Social Security or Medicare benefits, and you can use the money for almost any purpose you desire. The Senior Lending Network program has prepared a free educational video that explains how a reverse mortgage works, how to qualify, and how you can supplement your income without any monthly loan payments. If you're a homeowner 62 years or older, your free video is waiting. So call now.
For a free educational video from the Senior Lending Network on reverse mortgages, call 800-995-4280. 800-995-4280.
Senior Lending Network is a program by Mortgage Warehouse, a licensed mortgage banker, New York State Banking Department. Call this information will be shared with lenders who are members of the program. Consult your tax advisor regarding tax implications.
Honda would like to go out on a limb.
Instead of talking about all the neat, fun stuff the Honda Pilot has to offer.
The stuff that's made the Pilot a superstar with the public and the media.
We'd like to talk about controlled deformation.
And sacrificial structural areas.
Doesn't sound like much fun, do they?
May even make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, but here's some comforting news.
They helped the Pilot score the top crash test rating, 5 stars in the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration's frontal and side impact crash tests in 2002.
Simply put, the key to Pilot's superb collision protection is controlled deformation.
Built-in front and rear crush zones are sacrificial structural areas that are designed to absorb and dissipate impact energy
before it reaches the safety cell of the passenger cabin.
Leave it to Honda to have the first all-directional laboratory in the world that allows for crash testing at a variety of speeds and angles.
Okay, this commercial hasn't exactly been a bundle of joy.
But having heard it, we think you and your family will find the Honda Pilot a more joyful experience than ever.
Swing the club. Not in the pro shop. Take it outside and swing it. Yeah, that's better. Look at the name.
Sonar Tech Driving Cavity.
Sonar Tech. You love the club? Well, you're not alone. In fact, more than 100 PGA Tour players are playing Sonar Tech fairway woods every year, and that's without being compensated. See, it's one thing when a tour player is paid to play a product. That says a lot. But when they choose a club because it's just so good, they don't want to play without it, that says a lot more. Okay, so now you know a little about Sonar Tech. Now it's time to visit the website at sonartech.com and learn more about the club more and more players are falling in love with and winning with. Sonar Tech offers driving cavity technology for a more penetrating ball flight with results you see. Isn't it time for Sonar Tech? Visit sonartech.com today and learn more. sonartech.com. Or ask about Sonar Tech at your local pro shop. Those who know golf know Sonar Tech.
Okay, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. Of course, we're here with Bill Goldberg. Latest in professional wrestling information, you can always go to www.wrestlingobserver.com. Also has information on how to subscribe to the Observer, and as well as how to subscribe to Figure 4. And there's some real big issues coming up. Awards coming up very soon.
Have fun.
End of the year awards. Yeah. So, but this week's issue Actually, this is one of the biggest issues. Did you get the issue yet, Brian, by any chance?
I didn't, unfortunately.
Oh, it's one of the biggest issues I've done in a long time. 24 pages on the Crusher. It was a classic. And if you don't know about that, actually this issue will tell you why the Crusher was such... I mean, it's throwback to just a different world is all I can say. We've talked about that for like the last month anyway on that. Bill, I want to ask you on a completely different subject. When we were talking about UFC just a second ago, Matt Hughes, George St. Pierre, and BJ Penn. When that thing is all said and done, who winds up on top?
Wow. That's kind of a toss-up, man. I mean, it totally depends on what night it is. I want to say Matt Hughes, but St. Pierre is emerging as one of the top guys in that division for sure. And BJ Penn, I mean, we all know how he emerged in the UFC in the beginning, but unfortunately he took kind of a downside turn. But hey, everybody loses. But I'd have to say Matt Hughes, man.
Yeah.
If I had to pick any of them, it'd be Matt.
Yeah, because, the one thing with BJ Penn, when he was the big underdog against Matt Hughes, that was the one where I think he opened a lot of people's eyes, and I think, I don't think you'll get the same Matt Hughes the second time as far as, not taking him seriously, but, and then, like I said, George St. Pierre, the last couple of fights he's been in, wow, just dominant.
Yeah, he's tough. He is really tough. That fight last night was unbelievable. He showed very good skills there.
And going back as far as to the world of pro wrestling, and in your days there with WCW,
good old days.
That is the weirdest. When you look back on that, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, here you come in as a total unknown, you become a huge star in incredibly fast, and the company is on fire, like at its peak, like no company had ever been in many ways before that, financially anyway. I mean, WWE got bigger later, and then all of a sudden, I mean, it skyrocketed. I mean, you got in there, 97, it was certainly on the way up, and then 98 was the big year, and then it went down in 99 real bad, and then 2000, it's like a nightmare. I mean, like, you look back at that, what a roller coaster that period was.
No doubt. It was like, it was a hell of an introduction to the business. The best and the worst, all within a short span of time. But I couldn't have asked for a better situation. Being at WCW when they were in the middle of the wars with WWE, and being in the situation I was in with Hogan and Bischoff and the company, it was a great time. The downfall of the company. Once that started, that was a horrible time, but obviously with the good comes the bad. So
now, when the thing was going down, I mean, did you see a certain point where it was like, oh boy?
I think his name was Vince Russo.
Okay, well, that was a scary part. That was a scary part too. I mean, in hindsight, what do you think? Just the whole change in the philosophy of what wrestling was when Russo came in?
Yeah, it was just a whole... when it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And when we start bringing people in that didn't know their ass from a hole in the ground, and, didn't know anything about the wrestling world, not necessarily speaking about him, but, a number of other people who will remain nameless. It was strange. It was like what Vince did to my character, kind of, in a way. Why mess with it, man? It was rolling so good, and just let it continue to build steam.
Going in.
Actually, can I jump in here real quick?
Go ahead,
regarding
Brian.
Vince. I got to ask this question because I've always wanted to know. What were your thoughts when they approached you and said, "We're going to put a wig on you"?
You know what? I wasn't going to do it. My first thought was, no, I don't want to do it. Second thought was, you know what? That's what they want you to say. And third thought was, you know what? If it wasn't with my boy, I wouldn't do it. So that's the reality of it.
And was it sort of that day that you did you figure out very early that this was going to be a problem?
Oh, no question. No, I mean, I knew it from the beginning, but I forecasted. I hoped it wouldn't happen, but I was ready for it.
Now, again, we talked about this before, and it's kind of well known. I mean, you mentioned it before. You know, a lot of the impetus of you getting in there was The Rock, who ended up leaving about after your first match.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, man.
So, what I mean, like, how did he approach you? You know, because you were on the sidelines, and I'm of the impression that you weren't necessarily looking, you weren't necessarily looking to jump back into the wars at that point in time.
Hey, man, Rock's a very good friend of mine, and I'd do just about anything in the world for him. And it gave me an opportunity to get back out there for the kids who were stopping me on the street, asking me when I was going to get my ass back in the ring and back on TV for them. And a smart guy once told me, and his name was Ernest Miller, that you kind of owe your career the opportunity to go up there and see what happens to it.
Yeah.
And there you have
it. I guess in a sense, would you say that had you never done it, perhaps you would have looked back and gone, well, maybe Vince McMahon could have done something, really great with me, and now at least you know that. You know
what the reality is, man? How much greater could it have been?
Well, he could have done. Seriously though.
No, I mean with my career at WCW, how much greater could it have been? Looking back on it, I mean we all strive to be the best and to get the best matches, to be with the best promotions and have the best opportunity to further our characters as much as possible. But man, hey, beggars can't be choosers, and the reality is, man, when I was on top at when WCW was on top when I was there, it was a wonderful place to be. And it was a wonderful situation, and that's how I should have left the perception of the wrestling world in my head. Unfortunately, I chose to do what I did. And would I do it again? Hell, I'd do it again.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go to Jason, who wants to talk to Bill. Jason, what's going on? Jason.
Hey, Bill, how's it going?
What's up, Jason?
I just had a question on your last match. I was at the Cow Palace when you did the run-in with Eddie Guerrero and helped him win the title. And it was pretty exciting leading up to that match, and I'm wondering what the circumstances were where that match turned out to not be so great, because I remember looking forward to that match and sitting there watching it on pay-per-view and pretty disappointed.
Man. I mean, it was a horrible situation. I mean, with me leaving, Vince knew I was leaving, and right as he got hit with the right cross and me leaving, here comes his boy who leaves, So what? How is the match going to be? I mean, there's sure not going to be a lot of emphasis on the success of the match if the two combatants are leaving your promotion the next day. I mean, there's no money past that night for the promoter. So I mean, why put that match in a situation to where it could be favorable for the fans? Not to mention the fact that myself and Brock weren't feeling too chipper that evening as far as our last performance there. So, we would have loved to put on an hour shindig for everybody and had a hell of a match. It would have been unbelievable, man. There's no doubt. But when I got in that ring and I looked across and people were booing and his chin just hit the floor, man, I knew it was a long night.
Yeah.
Did you know Brock Lesnar well at all?
I didn't know him well. I knew him. I spoke to him, often, and I tried to be. You know what? The fact is that in a situation like that, you got a guy coming up who's very impressionable. You don't want to be one of the other guys telling him what to do. I wanted to let him kind of figure it out on his own and throw my 2 cents in if he asked my opinion, and I just didn't want to be those guys who stir things up that want to lead a guy in a different direction.
Did he ever talk to you at all about football, being that you actually played in the NFL?
Oh, absolutely. I knew the guys he was training with.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fantastic athlete, obviously, to get as far as he did with the limited amount of experience that he had. But I mean, that's a real long shot because of the skill level of and I guess inexperience at football.
It's the transition. It's the fact that the speed of the game is unbelievable, and to be a lay person, you cannot just walk in off the street, no matter what type of physical condition you're in, no matter the mentality you have. A sport like basketball can lend itself to someone walking off the street a little bit better than football. It's just there's too much to it. Now, as far as his decision, man, I backed him 1,000%. Man, if he wanted to do that and that was his dream, then more power to him. And hey, man, pat him on the back for making a decision like that and just doing what he wanted to do.
Brian.
Yeah, I got a question about the movie Santa's Sleigh. When's the first time you saw the finished product, and what'd you think?
I saw it 2 weeks before it came out on Spike, and my first impression was I turned to the director and I said, "Man, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be."
That's always good.
His reaction wasn't too favorable, but hey, man, the reality is again with this little cliche is that. When you got a 6'4", 280-pound maniacal Jewish killer Santa Claus, what the hell do you expect? The thing's it's going to be a cult classic. It's one of those tongue-in-cheek little deals. It was never meant to be serious.
Okay, we've got to go head to a break right now. We'll be back with more with Bill Goldberg. You can also call us again at 1-800-878-PLAY. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Do you want to be a professional sportscaster? Then you need to know about Broadcaster Marketing Services. BMS. BMS has over 40 years of experience to help launch your dream career. Let David Brody, former host on Sports Byline, and John Chalesnik, former host on ESPN Radio, create the professional tools that you'll need to land a sportscasting job. With expertise in portfolios, demo CDs, talent coaching, and much more, Broadcaster Marketing Services is the only game in town. Some of BMS clients recently accepted jobs as Double-A baseball play-by-play announcers with the Huntsville Stars and the Wichita Wranglers, sports talk in Sarasota, Florida, and television anchoring in Mobile, Alabama. You could be next in getting your sportscasting career started. Call us today at 205-979-4577. That's 205-979-4577. If you'd like more information about BMS, go to our website at www.broadcastermarketingservices.com. BMS.
Have the energy and stamina of a world-class athlete. Take Morphoplex. Give yourself a leaner muscle mass and increase your strength with Morphoplex. Alleviate joint pain and muscle aches with the all-natural supplement Morphoplex and its tissue-repairing properties. I do. I'm Larry Zbyszko. And after 30 years in the ring, I can enjoy playing professional golf on the senior tours because Morphoplex works. It will work for you. Log on now to Morphoplex.com or call 866-230-2524. Morphoplex is toxin-free, ephedra-free, and steroid-free. Formulated for men and women whether you're 18 or 100. Don't wait, look, and feel great. Log on now. Morphoplex.com. Get the energy and stamina you need. Promote the muscle growth you want. Alleviate the joint pain you hate. Call now, 866-230-2524, or log on to Morphoplex.com. Use without the fountain, baby.
Boy, my ears are popping from sitting all the way up here from the top.
All the players look like tiny ants down there. Let me see those binoculars of yours. Is that Steve from accounting? He's got the best seats in the house. Take a look.
What the hell he got to sit down there so close?
He went to Ticketsnow.com.
Boy, what a lucky guy he is.
Ticketsnow.com. Upwards of 2 million tickets available. Each and every transaction 100% guaranteed. No more long waits. In virtual waiting rooms. Call 800-927-2770 or log on to Ticketsnow.com.
Live the excitement of gridiron glory with seats on the 50-yard line. Savor the 7th inning stretch with seats behind home plate. Tickets Now puts you in the middle of the action at the season's hottest sports events. Don't delay. Go to Ticketsnow.com. That's Ticketsnow.com.
Can't believe we didn't go to Ticketsnow.com.
When you said we was getting tickets to see the Angels play, I didn't realize we'd be so close to the real ones.
Ticketsnow.com.
Okay, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly, and our special guest this week, Bill Goldberg. Bill, when we were talking about the acting and everything like that, now what was your, Brian mentioned Santa's Sleigh. What was your thought the first time you saw the finished product of Longest Yard?
Well, man, I was very excited. I thought it was great. The the fact is, we told everybody that we weren't trying to remake the original movie. We're just trying to put another Longest Yard out there for another generation of kids. It was just a totally different movie. So I thought it was killer, man.
Yeah. It ended up doing tremendous at the box office.
Yeah, I think it did really well, man. I believe the DVD is going to do even better.
Yeah.
What other projects are you working on?
Well, you know, like I said, I've got these the Joes versus the Pros. Hopefully, like I said, the History Channel's got the second season of Automaniac coming out. And, you know, just did an audition last week for something pretty big. So when that happens, and if that happens, you'll be the first one to know, man. So,
okay.
So who knows? Who knows?
Now, I got to ask you this. You were out there in WCW, and I guess this is, now we're in 2000, and this thing's going down hard. And, I mean, there were a lot of stupid things that had happened long before this, but this was certainly one of them. What was your reaction? I mean, I guess, you know, by this time, who knows, but what was your reaction when they asked you to do that? I think it was like he did a cage match with Vince Russo, or what was that deal exactly?
My reaction was, do I get to spear his ass? You know, just more stupidity, man. It was just absolutely ridiculous. That was one of the many things that were just so farcical it wasn't even entertaining for people. The only entertaining part was getting to spear him and have his head hit the back of the post, you know. Before I ran out, you know, his helmet got knocked off, and I wasn't going to step foot in that ring unless he had that helmet on, because I didn't want him to sue me for killing him.
Yeah. You know, if I was, I don't know, that whole thing was weird. I mean, I just remember the big thing for me was the week after, or the Monday in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. You know, just lost the match to Nash, and they did that thing with Elizabeth, and you know, you were at this police station across the street, and here it's 45 minutes, and you can't go across the street to get back at the end of the show, and just, you know, I'm watching the show, and this is, you know, the company's still on fire at this point, and I'm just going like, they have really lost it this time.
Yeah, they tried to turn it into a soap opera. They went so far away from the typical good versus evil. I mean, the reality is that's all it is. It's good versus evil, you know, and they just strayed so far from that, man.
And then
they need to try to entertain themselves by coming up with more ridiculous stuff.
Then you know, I guess that 1 week when they decided to turn you heel, and then 3 weeks later they forgot to turn you face, but you just were again. And
it's just none of it made sense.
Yeah.
When did you know that the ship hit the iceberg?
Wow. I think when I was sitting at home here and I was rehabbing after going through that limousine, and I was watching the shows and getting feedback from some of my guys, and it was just a horrible scene, man. It was going down quick.
Let's go to Ken in Oklahoma. Ken, you're on with Bill Goldberg. Ken, are you there?
Oh, hello.
Yes, go ahead. You're on with Bill.
Hello, Mr. Goldberg.
How you doing, Ken?
Oh, not too bad. I'm glad to be talking to somebody from my hometown.
Yeah, from Tulsa, huh?
Yes, sir. I grew up on the west side.
Oh, beautiful.
And I was wondering, I missed some of the earlier interviews. I was wondering if you're ever going to come back for a classic match like Hogan or anything.
You never know, man. The question hasn't been asked me in about 10 minutes, but you know, here we go again. But for the fans, I'd love to do it, but it has to be in the right circumstance, right situation with the right person. It's not that I want to call my own shots, but I do believe that if I do get back in the ring, it's got to be for the right reason and with the right person. So,
did TNA ever contact you?
What's that?
Did TNA ever contact you?
You what, sir?
You know, they did, but I don't think it was a very long conversation.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, thanks.
Okay, very.
Take care, man. Tell everybody in Tulsa I said hello.
All righty, I will.
You got it, buddy.
All right, we're going to go to John in New Jersey. John, what's going on?
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, actually, hey, Bill, my question was actually a little bit more about Eddie. Specifically, have any of you all read today's Phil Mushnick column in the New York Post regarding Eddie?
I did.
Yeah.
Brian, did you read it?
Yeah.
Okay, we both did.
What'd you think?
It's the same thing that he's written before, and you know, I mean, I'm not going to say like. I don't want to pass judgment on their motives for doing those shows. I think that they were under a very stressful situation and they did the best that they could. But aside from that, you know, I mean, it's the same thing everyone says. I mean, you can't argue with it. There's something amiss. I mean, you know.
Well, I definitely agree. I'm just wondering, this one specific quote I'm looking at right now is, while Selig, the king of baseball, is hauled before Congress, McMahon, the king of pro wrestling, skips through the cemetery. He surely must think it wonderful that so few people care that the media view his business only as a trendsetter for lowbrow pop culture. And while I agree with everything that, you know, they're saying, you know, like, you know, something needs to be done, this whole, you know, McMahon skipping through the cemetery thing.
It's a figure of speech. I mean, but he did.
Oh yeah.
But he did go to a cemetery, and he's been to too many cemeteries, figuratively, and in this week, exactly, you know, literally. The wording. I mean, I know where you're going to say go as far as the wording goes, but he's trying to make this point that you know, Bud Selig is being, you know, grilled and everything like that because he's baseball and it's a regular, you know, it's considered a major sport, and wrestling, which is existing in this corner of the world, that these things are happening and no one's being held accountable, and Vince himself is, I don't think that Vince is callous or wants this or anything like this, but if Vince McMahon was running the NBA and the NBA had these kind of issues, boy, I mean, he'd be hung up and quartered, if you know what I mean, by not just the media, but by everyone. It could something like what's happened in wrestling here. It could not exist in a real sport other than auto racing, because people have learned to accept, you know, death in auto racing. But it couldn't happen without, you know, an outcry like you wouldn't believe. It would never get to this point. And I think that's what, you know, that was Mushnick's point. And you know, he's written this. I think the sad part is that he's written this column not once. You know what I mean? I mean, he's written it many times, and you know. He's probably, I was at the funeral on Thursday, and I talked to a couple of guys, and, you know, I was just, you know, the whole feeling was, God, I hope we never do this again. And I remember, you know, one guy just looks at me and just goes, you know, we both know better. And it was like, I know. And I think that's the real sad thing, is something, if an NFL player, like, were to pass away, and, you know, you know, there have been, I mean, the 49ers player and everything like that, but it's just not. You know, I mean, it's not with the same frequency of the wrestlers, and there's a reason. It's this, like, you know, Bill talked about it. The schedule, the grind is a killer. You've got to look that certain way. You've got to get your workout in. You can't eat like junk, and God knows, you go out on the road and eating good. It sounds like it's easy, but go try it. You know what I mean? I've never been able to pull that one off. So, you know.
The intent, I totally agree with the intent of the article. It's just the wording there, you know, just bugged me a little. One other thing before I go, on all the tributes on WWE.com, did you all notice that Dusty Rhodes was the only one who even hinted at any impropriety when he said something about the things you have to do to get to the main event in this business? I was shocked they put that on there. I was shocked they even allowed that inference on there.
You know what? I was told, and I have not listened to the Dusty Rhodes thing, but two people told me that I must listen to it. It was by far the best of all of them. But tell me what he said, because I'm actually very interested.
God, I saw it days ago, but basically, you know, I'm not do my Dusty impression, but basically it was like, you know, and Eddie Guerrero knew the things you got to do to stay in the main event of this business. You know, but you know, not joking about it, but you know, we've cried enough. He doesn't come right out and say steroids, but he basically
that's
what he insinuates, and they put it up there. Yeah, it's very good. Check it out.
Okay, yeah, I know that the other one was. You know, everybody was trying to soften the load of, you know, and religion is a very touchy subject. They're trying to soften the load of, you know, he's in a better place. And I just remember, because what I was actually told was Dusty was the one to say, you know, I don't know that he's in a better place. And
yeah, that too.
And that's a real hard. That's politically very incorrect to say this week, and he said it. And you know, but there were people who very much admired the fact that he had the guts to say it. So I give him credit.
Okay, later, guys.
Okay, thanks very much. You know, Bill, like. again, you did the grind for a couple of years there. Just eating on the road, having to look a certain way, pressure. What's your thoughts about all that?
Well, it's like any other professional athlete, like any other actor. You do what you have to do to make a living. You do what you have to do to put yourself in a situation to you're on top. If you strive to be the best at what you're doing, and you come to different conclusions and decisions, and you make decisions based upon what you want in life, man. And everybody's over 21; they can make their own decisions, but then they got to pay the piper at the end of the deal, And it's a hard life, man. It really is. And you know what? Touching on Vince, whether it's Vince, whether it's somebody else, something's got to be done about it. I'm sick and damn tired of losing my buddies. I really am. And it's not. Are we going to do this again? It's going to be, when are we going to do this again? And it's not what's next. It's who's next. Just to take one out of my playbook, you look in your head, and you've got people, at the tip of your tongue who you think are going to be the next ones in line, and it's a shame that you think like that.
Do you think there's anything that can be done?
Hell yeah, there can be something done. There's no question there can be something done. Look at baseball. Look at what's happening in baseball. Is it the same thing? I don't know.
Would you say drug testing eats your schedule, both, or both?
I'd say, you know what, those two things, along with about 1,500 other things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a very stressful life, man. It is, but it's the life that these guys choose to lead, and it's the life that I chose to lead. And you have to live with those decisions, and you do what you have to do to put yourself in a better position to be better than the next guy.
Now, when you were in WCW, and obviously there were some guys, and that were way out there. I'm not talking about names or anything like that, but I mean, you saw it, you were there. What do you think was going through their heads, or were they just so? Was the road getting to them, or was the atmosphere getting to them? Because, McMichael, just for one, because he's talked about it publicly.
It's a combination of everything. You look at McMichael. McMichael played football for 1,500 years, man. That guy was the best ass-kicking defensive lineman out there. And, if he would have retired and never done a physical thing the rest of his life, he still would have been in a lot of pain. To be able to go back out on the road, travel 10 times as much as you used to, look a lot better than you did because you have to, wear your underwear instead of pads in front of people, and have that type of personality and be on top of your game. It entails a long list of things you got to do. And that's that.
Okay, we're going to come back. We'll finish up with Bill Goldberg right after this. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Can I turn to? You give me something I can hold on to.
Ever send an email that you wish you could get back? We've all had it. Sender regret. That feeling you get right after you send an email with the wrong attachment, the wrong information, or to the wrong person. Now you can get those emails back with Big String, the world's first recallable, erasable, self-destructing email. Big String lets you send emails that self-destruct, can't be printed, can't be saved, can't be forwarded. Now you can have the ultimate in email privacy and control for yourself or your business. Now you can self-destruct or change your email after it's already been sent or read. You'll never have to worry about an embarrassing email again. It's your email, and you should decide who gets to read it and for how long. Send important emails, pictures, and documents with total peace of mind that Big String is protecting you. Protect your privacy and take control of your email. Act now and get an extra 6 months of Big String absolutely free. To get your extra 6 months of Big String absolutely free, go to BigString4.com. That's BIGSTRING, the number 4.com. BigString4.com for total email privacy and control.
Hybrid.
Definition. Offspring of genetically differing originals.
Bonsai.
Definition. Celebration to perform with appropriate rites.
Fujikura.
Definition. The Graphite Shaft or PGA Tour professionals choose every year.
The Bonsai Shaft from Fujikura.
Definition. unbelievable performance for your hybrid club.
Replacing your 2, 3, and 4 irons never got easier. The new Bonsai shaft brings a sense of celebration, a feeling of incredible power, a new reverence for the spot in your bag where your hybrids live and breathe. Bonsai. Celebrate your hybrid clubs this year with Fujikura. See the new Bonsai shaft for hybrid clubs at FujikuraGolf.com. You may not be playing on the Pro Tour, but you can always play with the leader, Fujikura.
FujikuraGolf.com.
In today's active world, everyone is turning to exercise and sports to stay young and keep in shape. Both activities can be painful. And what about the aches and pains of arthritis and tendinitis as we age? Now, there's an over-the-counter product with active ingredients that can help relieve pain quickly. It's called Blue Goo. Blue Goo is loaded with emu oil, MSM, eucalyptus oil, glucosamine, chondroitin, and other healthful ingredients that give you lasting pain relief. Whether it's muscle strains and sprains, tendinitis, headaches, back and neck aches, arthritis, or joint pain relief, Blue Goo Pain Relief Gel is for you. It's fast, effective, and affordable. Blue Goo, the real pain reliever, is available in the analgesic department, or ask your pharmacist for Blue Goo Pain Relief Gel. Accept no substitutes. Make sure it's Blue Goo, the only name to trust in pain relief. Let Blue Goo Pain Relief Gel work for you. Blue Goo. If you have a problem or pain, we have a solution. Blue Goo.
Hey, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter with Brian Alvarez, Figure for Weekly, and of course we're here with Bill Goldberg. We only got a couple of minutes. Bill, how soon before you start buying the mini shoulder pads?
I don't know, man. If I don't get off the phone and go pick my wife up, I may not have a kid. Pretty soon, man. June 8th is the due date, and I just want a healthy baby, man. That's all I want.
Do you have any nephews or anything like that?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, because I know you have a lot of brothers.
Yep. 3 boys, three nephews, 2 nieces.
Yeah. So hopefully, this one, hopefully this goes great, and that's a life-changing experience.
Yeah, no doubt. That's all I need is another change of my life. It's always good to talk to you guys, man. I greatly appreciate it. With all the crap out there in the wrestling world, it's a pleasure to talk to you guys. It's a lot of fun. Always look forward to it.
Well, thank you very much, Bill, and good luck. And we'll be talking to you soon, and hopefully Hopefully, we'll be seeing you in some type of a movie role that you're. I'm guessing that's what you were talking about. What you were teasing a few minutes ago.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
You got it, guys. Take care, man.
Okay. We'll talk to you later. Okay. That was Bill Goldberg, and we will Brian.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we are almost out of time. Any thoughts as far as hold on.
That answered that question.
No. But any, as far as ideas, as far as what needs to be done, because we know something needs to be done.
I have been racking my brain all week, and the problem I'm coming up with is really the same problem that Goldberg said when he answered the question, which was there's about 15 million things, and I just don't know. I really don't even know where to start.
Here's the thing, and just prediction, okay? 2 weeks from now, because we're going to next week, of course, next week is Survivor Series. 2 weeks from now, when we come back, will Vince McMahon have made a statement, or will we just be 2 weeks later and we'll be talking about the same thing without anything from Vince?
I hate to say this, but I think that he won't say anything.
Wow, that's going to be a bad omission on his part. But I'm not.
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on it as far as what he will or won't do, but I'm very interested, again, in the next 2 weeks, because right now is a little early, but Monday or a week from Monday, something's got to be.
Live on the Freak Radio Network, rulers of the Motorsports Empire, broadcasting live from the Lucas Oil Studios. Budweiser, the King of Beers, presents Speed Freaks. Motorsports Radio redefined. And all their parts are supplied by O'Reilly Auto Parts, baby. with Kenny Sargent and his freaking pit crew. That man Carruthers.
We ain't going nowhere, baby.
Lugnut.
Game, set, match, nut.
And the baddest bitch to wrap it around two wheels, Crash Gladys.
Hello there.
Nothing but the hits and the greats. In motorsports, that is. It's Best of Speed Freaks.
Tony Stewart, he's back on the stage with us, of course, vying for that second Nextel Cup championship. Tony Stewart, you heard our topic tonight, trash talking in NASCAR. Does it belong or is it good for... Does it belong in NASCAR? Does trash talking belong in NASCAR?
Trash talking belongs everywhere. But you got to know what you're doing when you're going to do that. I mean, if you're going to go to that level and start trash talking, you got to know who you can do it with and who you can't do it with, and know who you're playing when you're trying to do this.
So who did you take your trash talking 101? Where did that come? Who taught you how to trash talk?
I probably learned mine in USAC when I was racing for the national midget title. The 2 years that I won, I beat a good guy, Andy Mitchner, but he was one of those guys that did not like the dirt. He loved pavement. He was an awesome pavement driver, and he wasn't too bad on the dirt, but there were just some places that he didn't like, and you could go there and, you know, really start laying the smack down early in the night, and you could really have him screwed up for the whole night, just getting in his head.
Start getting on your mama, things like that?
No, I never went with his mom. His mom's pretty hot, actually, so
I like
I thought his mom was pretty cool.
Tony Stewart and single moms, we like that.
I'm telling you, there are a lot of hot single moms out there.
I know. Tony Stewart. No, we're getting along. The worst trash talking to you was from who in Nextel Cup?
Probably the one that I thought... if Mike Helton wasn't there, I probably would have just beat him down. Was probably Brian Vickers in the trailer after the Sonoma race. He was, we were in there together, and Brian and I get along great now, so I don't want to make it sound like there's anything going on there. We get along good, but we were in there, and something was said about how I did things and how he did things, and you know that's how he was raised, and I must have did it a certain way because it must have been because of my upbringing.
Oh.
So I thought, man,
that's as close to mom as you can get, isn't it?
Yeah, but with Mike Helton there, it's kind of like having a prison guard standing beside you.
No, you just give him the checkbook and then beat his ass.
You just say here, fill in the blank.
I'll be honest. I went to Mike Helton once and said, "What's it cost? You know, and can you pay in advance?"
Whoa!
So that
because you wanted to give somebody a good beating.
But it's now gone so far through the roof that it's down a range now.
Well, I mean, you talk about guys now. Somebody that talks trash to you doesn't make sense. If a guy talks trash, you respect him if he's a good driver. But if some little dunce or some does it, you don't care, right?
It depends on why they're doing it. I mean, even if there's somebody that I respect, if they're doing it for the wrong reasons, it's like, you know, what are you thinking here? I mean, all you're going to do is, you know, there's guys you're going to do that to, and you're going to get in their head, and there's guys you're going to do that to, and you're going to make them mad, and it's going to work against you. And you got to know that going into it. You got to know who you can mess with, who you can't mess with. You know, that's a tactic that's kind of, to me, it's like if a guy's trying to do that, they figured out they can't do it on the racetrack, so they're trying to do it another way. So that just gives you more confidence.
That reminds me of the standoff between you and Robbie Gordon that got all the promotion. There was a lot of trash talking that was going on then. Who was winning that argument?
Well, the problem is Robbie doesn't understand it when you're trash talking him anyway. So it's kind of like talking to this guy about wearing clothes. So you know, it's just you can talk all day long, they're just not going to get it.
Still coming out with those pink ass legs and black shorts. Was Chad Canals trying to get in your head and the team's head with what he said?
I think he was trying to, but you know, Chad's not a tough enough person to try to do that with us anyway.
Gunfight.
Yeah, he brought a knife to the gunfight.
Who would you not trash talk to? Whether it's USAC, was
straight up. You're not going to trash talk Dale Jr. You're not going to trash talk Ricky Rudd.
Ricky Rudd?
Really? Yeah, Ricky Rudd, because he doesn't care. He'll just flat, you know, if you're going to mess with him, he's just going to take you out. Straight up. But that's why I respect Ricky. I mean, you don't mess with Ricky, he doesn't mess with you. I mean, he treats you the way you treat him. So
why not Dale Jr.?
Dude, when you're messing with Dale Jr., you're not just messing with Dale Jr., you're messing with
if you want to
the whole United States of America, basically. So, but I mean, you know, it's like Dale and I. I mean, we got a good respect for each other. We respect how each other does things. I mean, you would never see us trash talk each other.
That's good to hear about Rudd, though. I like Rudd. He's a straight up guy.
Yeah. I do too. I mean, that's why I got a lot of respect for Ricky because of that.
We continue our conversation. Nextel Cup champion for 2002 and Tony Stewart. Statman's been a business owner. Lugnuts has been a business owner. Crash has helped run people's business before. You're now a business.
We've noticed.
I know that.
She tried to help with a clothing company, and look what happened here. So.
Hey, you know what? No, Lug.
No, he's got a point because it's like NASCAR dress code.
Legs, relax.
NBA.
Yeah. Now that you are a big-time USAC team owner with Josh Wise, you're finding yourself having to watch different portions of budgets, rental cars, airline tickets. You go, dude, can you take a later flight to maybe knock $100 off that flight?
We don't let, first, learning from experience, we don't let the team have rental cars because I know what I do to rental cars. So no rental cars, they don't get that. So we just keep switching companies till they forget about what we've done, and by the time we get through all of them, we circle back around and we've got a clean slate again. But, that's the good thing about our organization in Indianapolis. I've got a guy that basically oversees every aspect of all the businesses that we're a part of, and it basically lets me worry about going out and driving. It lets me spend more time with Josh and Jay Drake and Danny Lasowski and say, what do we need to do to make it better from the performance side? I don't have to worry about the dollar and cent side. That's where the team managers on the teams working with our guy in Indianapolis.
Don't you look at the ledger, though, and make sure people aren't ripping your ass off?
I get it at the end of the month. I mean, but, you hire the right people to do the right jobs. You hire people you trust.
What about the other part of your ownership portfolio?